So, welcome everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today, I want to talk a little bit more about how I attracted my husband and also the love list that I've created. I have created my love list about 2 months prior to meeting my husband, but I have read it every single day. I have prayed on it. I had my meditation routine, and I also found a time to write it down again, pretty much like every few days or so. So I want to share it with you guys, and I hope that's gonna help you in some way. So please stay with me, and if you do have any questions, please leave me a comment. If you want to subscribe, why not? You're gonna get a loads of videos like from this point onwards. So let's get started. So I brought my laptop just to help me out a bit, and I'm not gonna lie, in my love list I think I wrote about 50 points, okay? 50 points about my husband and how I want him to be and how I want my life to look like as well. But it was mainly about that other person. What I do want to say though, I feel it's not just about writing things down, saying I want a rich man, I want a happy man, I want fulfill my. So it's not just about him in this aspect, but it's also about you. So who you represent and what do you want to and who you want to become. So it's not only about him, but it's also about who you are inside, if that makes sense. So let's say if you are a big spender, you really don't know how to keep the money intact and you just spending, you've got a lot of debt, a lot of credit cards. If you pray for the man who will be very rich and very successful, on his level, he would like a lady who knows how to operate with that money, who knows how to at least save a bit. You know, I'm not saying that you need to be frugal. I'm not talking about the fact that you just can't spend right now, but at least you need to have your finances intact. Okay, so let's say if you wanna stay at home once you get married, or even like throughout the engagement period, you don't want to bring all that depth to your new life. So before you even start, you need to work on yourself, and you need to you need to be that mirror image of him, if that makes sense. But it doesn't always work like this. Sometimes it's the opposite. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, so I will add my love list somewhere. It's going to be either on the screen, or I'm just going to read it out to you. I've got loads and loads of different points. A lot of those points going to be like the copy of the previous point. So I just sat one day and I took a few deep breaths and I asked God, who's supposed to be in my life, who is that beautiful guy, that great man who's gonna be part of my life. And I asked him, please God, can you just help me to find that out inside me and unravel this secrets. And I started writing. I had my laptop ready, as you can see, and I just started writing, and this is my love list. Okay, so I don't think I've added any date. It was sometimes about November, December time when I wrote this love list, and oh my God, I even it's not even about my husband, but since I wrote it and since I set my intention to the universe and said that yes, within the next few months I'm definitely gonna meet my husband and it's gonna be it. We're gonna have a beautiful union, beautiful relationship. I've met so many amazing great guys that were ready to to have that with me. So it wasn't just about that one person. I literally started to attract a lot of guys, much better versions, much better than what I used to. So that's the first step. So point number one on my love list was, he is a provider for me. Why it's on the top of my list? Maybe because I've seen too many women who had to go to work and they working full time and they have kids. They just struggle so much. If they could get any help from the husband, they would. So for me, provider doesn't only mean financially. Obviously, it's a very important aspect, but also means that he's going to provide that sense of security. He's going to provide that sense of that sense of commitment. You know, I wouldn't have to worry that he's gonna go out and cheat on me, or maybe he's gonna stay, you know, he will say that I'm staying at work tonight and he's gonna go out with his buddies, he's never gonna tell me. So the man, you know, man can provide a lot of things to you, ladies. It doesn't only have to be financial. And I would also say sometimes more successful men, when, you know, when you look at financial status and the pride and whether they're very successful at the work, they can, I'm not saying that they are all cheaters, but they have a lot of more options. And even if they meet a girl that is definitely good and right for them, they're still gonna look for more and more and more. So I've done my research before I started dating, and I knew that I didn't want to have a millionaire. Okay, I used to date some really wealthy men, and I knew this is not for me. You know, I wasn't ready for that level of luxury life. And I said to myself that I don't want somebody that I'm not going to be able to trust. I don't want somebody who's not going to be there for me because he's always working, and if I need him the most, like physically, emotionally, in that moment, he's not going to be there because he needs to work, or he needs to go on a trip, or he needs to go to a different country because he's earning good money. I really wanted somebody who's going to be a homeowner. So for me, the most important thing is that yes, he had to have a home. But I also met someone who had the money saved to have his home, you know, or even to build a home for the lady, but he was just looking for the right person for him. It was interesting, you know, it was interesting to listen to a different side of the story, because in his mind, what he said to me is, rather than building a house and then making everything around this house, so let's say if I'm gonna meet somebody who's gonna be living 5 hours away from me, then I have to sell the house, then I have to go through all this hassle. So what that guy was doing, he would save all the money in the world, he was ready to commit to someone, but he didn't buy the house because he was waiting for that lady to tell him, this is what I want. And I think that was so beautiful. I think when we met first time, he traveled around 3.5 hours to see me. So yes, he was definitely ready to build that life, but he just wasn't for me from different aspects. Point number one, it was about being a provider. Then point number two, I said he's my husband. Okay, I knew I never wanted like boyfriend girlfriend situation. I knew this is not for me. I was already 28-year-old, and no, sorry, I was already 26 years old, and I know I'm ready to have a husband, to have a family, to know that this is my life that I've created. So point number two, he is my husband. Point number three, he's free spiritual man. So he's free spiritual guy. Free to me means that he's not influenced by any religion. So even though I wanted him to be a very religious person, meaning that I'm a Catholic, I wanted him to be on the same level that I am, because I'm not very strict about my religion. I respect every single religion, but let's say if somebody's going to be so religious, and let's say somebody comes from a Muslim family, we're not going to understand each other on the same level. So I wanted somebody who's not going to give me struggle in life, who's not going to bring me another aspect of the unknown. You know, different culture, different costume, different food, everything's different. And I said, like, I want somebody on my level. So what I put, instead of saying I want a Christian, I said I want a free spiritual man. And my husband will go to church with me. He believes in God. We understand, we are on the same religious belief. We've got the same religious beliefs, but we are not bound to anything. If we want to go to church, we will go to church. If God forbid and we're not feeling very well, I'm not gonna shout on him saying, yeah, we need to go to church. No, we are free to have a nice sleep if we need to, or we're not planning everything around that. We are appreciating religion. We know it can be a great help, especially when the church that we are now, it's based in Chester. They have Polish masses, they have Polish, he's not even a priest, he's a brother, but he's just so different than everybody else that I met when it comes to religion. He knows exactly how to teach other people without putting his beliefs on top of you, if that makes sense. So he's not going to force you to believe in anything, but he's going to be there for you in case if you need him to be. I wasn't part of this church before I met Peter, and I can clearly see that, you know, once I met my husband, a lot of other things started to shift for better. And I think that's so important, because you want that person to elevate your life. You don't want somebody to bring you down. So let's say if I'm going to meet somebody who is really, you know, hard on drugs, and I'm going to believe that I'm the lady who's going to change him, like, that's not going to work. I don't want to have academy. I don't want to have a project. I want a husband who's going to be on the same level as I am. The next one I've put, he have his own beautiful house and is willing for me to create a house that I desire with him. Okay, so again, that point was on top of my list. Having a beautiful house, and he's willing for me to create a house that I desire with him. Different people have different idea of having their own beautiful house. For one of them, you know, for some people, for some women, it have to be a mansion, and I'm not a mansion type of girl. I like to have a freedom. I like to have a space. I love to have a bit of garden so I can go out and feel like I'm on holidays. It really creates something beautiful inside me when I see some trees outside. We used to live in a flat. I used to live in a flat for so many years without any garden, and you know, it was beautiful to just have that space outside. And as I said, my husband is really willing to do as I want. He wants to please me. He wants me to be happy. So if I wanna put mirror there, if I wanna have a picture there, he's just gonna smile and say, yes, honey, that's fine. I always want to upgrade my house, and I always have different ideas about what can I do. So it's like a project that will never end. And point number 5, he is a family man. Oh my God, it was so important for me. I wanted to know that he's gonna be a family person, so not a party animal, not a guy who's gonna be working 24/7. I wanted him to come back home and, you know, be for his family and have the family with me, and that also means that he's a family for his side. Like, he's a good person for his side of the family, so he always gonna help them. He appreciates them as well, and they appreciate him. So it's not only about, you know, having the kids together, it's also how he treats everybody around you, how he treats my family, how he helps me, how he helps my family. That was definitely important. Point number 6, I feel that he's deeply in love with me. Of course, everybody wants that. Everybody wants to feel loved, and I want to feel love as well. Number 7, he is a great communicator. He shares how he feels with me. He wants to know how I feel. Okay, when we said, so that was point number 7 for me, but I'm not gonna lie to you, we struggle with that a bit. But what I will also say to you, and what I always say to my friends as well, he doesn't have to meet 100% of that list. There are certain points that you can work towards and you can work around, as long as he's willing to be on that journey with you. So as long as he's willing to learn with you and to grow with you, there's no limits. You can always become better and better. So with point number 7, we struggled a bit. He's not the greatest communicator in the world, but we had so many different conversations, and obviously I know myself, I know that I can communicate very well if I want to, and obviously because he's my family now, I want to communicate and I want to make it work. As long as 2 people want that, then there's no limit, and you can always get a great results. So point number 7 wasn't there, but I always say if he meets at least 80, maybe even 70, about 70-80% of your love list, that's a great start, and you can always build on top of this. There are certain points that are not negotiable with me, and there are certain points that you can see a way of improvement. Okay? Point number 8, he's willing to give me everything that I desire. And that doesn't mean that one day, so let's say I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I will want a Chanel bag, and he just have to bring it for me. I know his limit, I know how much money he makes. When you have a big desire, sometimes you have to wait for big things to come true. And sometimes there's no time, okay? I don't believe in time the same as some people do. It's all about you, and it's all about what you're gonna attract within yourself. So let's say if I really want something that's a bit more expensive right now, we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna communicate my desire, and I do believe that one day he's gonna be willing to provide that for me. Because it's not about the fact that he has to do it right now, it's about the fact that he wants to please me and he wants to give me everything that I want. Point number 9, he can talk for hours if we want. We can talk for hours if we want to. So that was more about, that was just very general point. We can talk for hours if we want to. Means that we have so many different topics that we can talk about. I don't feel bored with him. We can have, we can be together in silence. We can talk if we want. So it's not somebody that I feel awkward and I have to be like the one just trying to fill in the silence. We can have a long moment of silence. We can have great, we can have many hours of long, deep discussions. So that was point number 9. Point number 10, we communicate clearly and effectively. So as you can say, it was a lot of, I have a lot of points about communicating. I feel like successful communication will create successful relationship. I just cannot stress that enough. I think it was because my parents didn't have that communication level, didn't have that level of communication that I wanted, and a lot of things went by without discussing it. It was probably because of my dad. He was never a big talker. He just talked when he had to, and it was short and it was very to the point. My mom wanted to communicate a bit more, but she never knew how to crack my dad, okay, how to get to him. So for me, communication was very important, and as you can see, that was point number 10. Point number 11, he's trustworthy. So make sure when you creating your love list, don't say about the points that you don't want to have. So don't put nothing negative on that list. So never put I don't want to have a liar. Don't say that. Just say exactly what you want. And because I knew exactly what I want, then point number 11 was he is trustworthy. I can trust him. I can depend on him. Super important for me. Point number 12, he's super giving. He gives me gifts all the time. We all love to have a bit of gifts. Again, even though it's my point number 12, so it sits quite high on top of my list. Again, it's not just about gifts that you think of, it's not just about bags or shoes or stuff like this. It's about giving, okay? So it can be anything, beginning with making me a breakfast and give it to me, or give his love, or give his attention, or give his time, Giving and receiving, it's a lot of it's a very big subject, and it's a big field that you can go into. So bear in mind, this is not just about him buying you expensive earrings or him buying you an expensive car, okay? He needs to give much more than just a car. Point number 13, he appreciates me. I appreciate him deeply. Yeah, I think appreciating is very important in any relationship, and without that level of appreciating, what he does for me, what I do for him, the relationship will never stand on the right ground. Because I knew I wanted to be a stay-home wife, I didn't really wanted to, struggle and go to work every single day. I knew that if I'm gonna find somebody who's gonna be willing for me to stay at home and be like a stay-home person, then I will deeply appreciate him. Because it's just, why would I not appreciate that person if he's willing to go out and fight with the world and fight against everybody just to bring money home and just to pay for all the bills, so I don't have to do it and I don't have to struggle with that. Then yes, I appreciate that person 100%, and I love him for that as well. Point number 14, he's financially stable. Okay, so if you you know, if you look at those points, I've never said I want a rich man. I've never said that. I said I want him to be financially stable. Why? Because again, it's not about him being rich, and rich means different things to different people. For some people, a rich person is somebody who's already a millionaire. For other people, it means that he already have his own home, he can provide and pay for it, and he doesn't struggle with that. And my battery just died. I need to go and get the battery. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry for that. So then point number 15. Point number 15 was he can lead the family and I let him lead. So when church and different religions said that the man is the head of the home, you know, he's the head of the house, that doesn't mean that he is a better than you, you know, he's a better person than you. That doesn't mean that he's superior. That doesn't mean that he is above you. That only means that there always needs to be one person, one leader that needs to be leading the whole family. And majority of healthy homes, that's gonna be a man. So in the majority of healthy homes, that's gonna be a man. He needs to be the one who is able to lead, and he needs to be willing to be a leader. But you have no idea how many women, my friends and family members, I've seen that they, even though they were willing to, you know, even though they had husbands, some of them they could stay at home and they didn't have to work and everything, they will still judge the man and everything that he would be saying. And there are a few different things that you can do in order to show him, yes, I trust you, yes, you can lead the relationship. What's the point of letting him to lead and then interfere with everything that he's saying? So let's say he's gonna talk to you about one thing, you know, he's gonna say, let's do this, or something else, and then you're gonna come back to him saying, you know what, I just don't feel this is a great idea. There is nothing wrong with that. But let's say if he do something and then you don't trust him, you always in the middle of what he's saying, you always judge him, he's never going to be feeling like leader. And every single man needs to know that he is the home, that he is the brain of the house, you know, he's the leader. He needs to be one in order to thrive, in order for him to fulfill his desires. He needs to know that he can lead, and he needs to know that you trust him. So that point, as you can see, sometimes when I put what I want from him, I also put about myself. For me, it was very difficult to trust somebody to kind of give my life to him, because I was always the independent woman. I was always working, I was always making really good money, and I wanted this to continue, right? Yeah, so I was the person who had issue with that, and I had issue overall with trusting men, because I was the person who always make a lot of money, who had her own, you know, I was very independent person. Like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't always the way I am now. I had to learn how to let go, and I had to learn how to trust men. Especially in today's society, people want us to believe that this is okay to be single. It's okay that you don't need anybody. It's okay, you can do it all. And the truth is, no, you can't. Even men can't do it all, and women can't do it all. We have not been created to be alone. We have been created to stick in a union. So don't feel like this is okay that you are 40 and you still by yourself, because you can't experience everything that you should be. You know, it's so easy to be single and say, I'm okay, I'm great in relationships. It's so different when you are in a relationship and something triggers you. This is the only way when you can actually work on yourself and learn something new. You can't do everything by yourself. It's just impossible. You can't prepare yourself for a beautiful relationship, but a lot of different struggles will come on the way. And this is the only way we can learn. There's no like end point that we can arrive and that's it, you know, job done. So yeah, sometimes I put what I wanted from him, and sometimes I just put what I also wanted from myself. I can be vulnerable, and he is vulnerable with me. So important, because again, I struggle with that big times. I could never cry next to a guy. I could never show that I need something. It was very difficult to, to get that new perspective, and learn how to trust that person, how to open up. Right now, I can cry out loud in front of my husband, and he showed me that he's willing to stand his ground, and he's willing to give me that support if I need him to give it to me. Okay, so point number 17: we always share what we like, want, dream of in life. So again, that's all about the communication, and that's about sharing your dreams. Don't be afraid to share it with the person who you love. Sometimes you can share it very early in the in the relationship stage, like even in the dating stage. You can share your desires, you can share your wants and needs, and see if that person can see the same for himself and for you as well. Because sometimes when you have a big dreams and you have big goals, you can realize and clearly see that the other person has something completely different in mind, and you just can't go in two different directions being in the same house. Being in the same house, having a husband, having a wife, means you have same goals. That's point number 1. I cannot stress this enough. You've got point number 18. He's devoted to me only. He's devoted only to me and to our family. It comes with trust, but also comes with how he's acting. So let's say that my husband will go out every weekend and have parties with his buddies. He wouldn't come back over the night. If he would give me the benefit of a doubt, if he would do constantly something that I wouldn't be able to trust him, well, that means he's not devoted to me. Because if I will bring this up 1 and 2 times and 3 times and he will still continue doing it, that doesn't mean that he's devoted. That means he's devoted only to himself, and he only thinks about himself. And I didn't need somebody like this. When we say that a person is devoted to you, he clearly needs to do things that benefits you. He needs to be there for you. And once you bring out a conversation, you bring up the conversation and you say, hi, listen, I really don't like the fact that you're going out every weekend with your friends and I'm here alone. And he, maybe he can say, oh, you know what, you're right, this is not what I want either, and let's stop doing it. That's great. But if he's going to continue doing it all the time, what does it mean? Do you think he is there for you, or you think he's only there for himself because he cannot change and he just needs to go out? Point number 19. I live in a beautiful house very close to my family. That hasn't happened yet, but we are on the way of doing it, family-wise. Point number 20. He understands the importance of a family. Very, very important point for me. Again, a lot, I've put a lot about the family and a lot about the communication, because that's important for me. As you see, money was not on top of my list. It wasn't a priority for me. I didn't want to use and abuse anybody, and I didn't want somebody to abuse me either. I wanted a beautiful, happy relationship that I can grow. We can both grow, and we can both, we both have goals and dreams, and we can just help one another to fulfill that needs. Point number 22. He shows me every day that he loves me. It can be anything. It can be gifts, it can be him making me breakfast, or him taking me out, looking after me, paying for the bills, doing everything that the man's supposed to be doing. Just shows me that he loves me. Point number 23. He takes me on holidays. I love good holidays. We love traveling, and that's another, that was another thing that really got us together. He hasn't been traveling that much outside of the Europe, but he's been traveling a lot in the UK. And on the other point, I was the one who was always traveling, around Europe or outside of Europe. And it was a beautiful thing that we just came together, and he showed me his word and I showed him his word, and I showed him my word, because because there is a beauty of, not only doing everything that you like, but also experiencing that other person point of view. He loves to climb the mountains, and I was never into mountains. I was always into the sea. I'm the seaside girl. I'm Pisces, so I love water. So when he said that he loves hiking, I wasn't like, oh. First of all, I don't have a good condition for hiking, and secondly, I was a bit afraid because I know it all can be dangerous and people don't realize. They put the flip flops on and they go into Kilimanjaro to, like, this is just not for me. However, when we went on to a few different trips and he showed me that he knows what he's doing and I can trust him and he's not gonna push me to the things that I don't want to do, then I got distressed, and I fell in love in what he loved as well. So I hope that makes sense. It's so important to try, different words and see different points of view. Point number 25, he's faithful husband. He's my faithful husband, meaning he doesn't cheat. And I also told him that in case if he ever gonna cheat on me, I'm gonna cut his, just so he knows. Point number 26, he's funny and makes me laugh. Oh my god, yes. I never realized that this is so important, and I think if I would have to make a love list again, I would probably put it on top of my love list, not like in the middle. The laughing part in the relationship, life gonna give you a lot of problems. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we have problems every single week. Is that, there is either a problem within the family, problems with the house, with the people, with friends, money situation. There's always some sort of problems, and if you can't laugh it through, if you can't enjoy it, if you can't find this moment of joy and love and having fun, even in every single, even when you're making breakfast, let's make it fun. He can make it funny so much. Like, he makes me laugh so hard that sometimes I can't even breathe. Maybe for some people it's not as important, but when I see couples who are so serious and they always it feels like somebody would stick something, and they always sit so straight and never laugh and never make a joke, and how dare you, how could you, like, just stop and enjoy your life. I couldn't do it. Point number 27, I'm laughing at his jokes. He makes me smile every day. Lovely. Point number 28, he's kind. I've met few people who thought they were kind, but they were not kind people. So for me, that was important. Point number 29, he's handsome and sexy. Tick. Point number 30, we have a great S word and intimacy. Intimacy is what's gonna bring you closer. If he doesn't like your appearance, if you don't like how he looks like, and there is no connection, there's no chemistry between you, believe me, it's not gonna work. I had friends in the past who wanted to be with me, but there was just no spark. There was no spark from my end, and I knew that this is just not gonna work. So let me be clear. When I met my husband, it wasn't like, the love of my life straight away, and like I can give everything out for him. Sometimes the chemistry needs to be built up, and now I see that because he's been looking after me so much, he was there every single time when I needed him. I learned how to love him, and I loved him every single day more and more. Point number 31, we love our kids. We don't have kids yet. We are on the way to have some kids, hopefully. So I like the fact that I just didn't put we have kids. I just put we love our kids. Because again, I've seen some relationships where men would leave the woman, when a woman is pregnant, she developed a bond with a child that men will never understand. And I'm not saying that women are more important than men. That's not what I'm trying to say. We have been created, in the way where we have to love our children no matter what. When it comes to a man, it's not that given as it is for women. Most of the times, obviously, when men are together, like when men and women are together, they're gonna love the kids and they're gonna try to support them and, you know, spoil them and everything else. But many times, what I see right now, men would leave and have baby with another woman and another woman and another woman, to the point when he doesn't even know how many kids he have. So when I said we love our kids, I meant, you know, we love our kids, we're gonna raise them together. This is our union. Point number 32, we are passionate. Important. Red colors, pillows, fun, being passionate, that's all, you know, that's life about. Point number 33, he likes traveling and taking places. We discussed that. Point number 34, he's honest and he's respectful. Point number 35. So point number 34, when I said he's honest, I could not stress enough how important that is right now. It's, you know, by being honest, it's not only, you know, it's not necessarily about cheating. When your man is honest with you, he's going to provide you the truth. And when he provides the truth, then you know you can trust him. When he breaks that and he's not faithful anymore and he's not honest anymore, that's the time when you know there is something going on. And we can, you know, women, we have like third sense and we can truly feel when something isn't right, even though sometimes we don't know what's that. So let's say how he, you know, there are a few ways that he cannot be honest with you. For example, he invested money into a stock. He either told you or not, but he lost a lot of money and he hid that away from you. You know, he's hidden that away. You have no idea. That's not honesty. And if you talk to that guy, he's gonna say that he's, you know, he's worried about her. That's why he didn't tell her. And in my opinion, that's not about worrying, that's about, you know, being a bit lazy, being a bit scared of your own wife and not giving her the truth. Sometimes the biggest truth, the most horrifying truth is better than you know, being not truthful and being dishonest to yourself and your wife. So my husband discussed everything with me, even when it's so difficult, and you know, it's I know that he struggles a lot to tell me something. He will still say it. He will say, right now he'll say a lot of the times how he feels and how he viewed the situation, but that was something that we have to work through. However, from the beginning, you know, from the beginning when we first met, I could see that he had that in him. He wasn't trying to lie, he wasn't trying to give me bullshit, he wasn't trying to manipulate me, he was honest. That's how I can relax. I know he's not trying to manipulate me, he's not trying to lie, he's not trying to test me. He's, you know, this is him. He's showing me his raw true self, and that's how I can do it, and that's how I can open as well. So point number 35, he's respectful. I don't think I have to explain that point to you guys. Point number 36, he's vulnerable and know how to open up in front of me. Okay, so that led us to that other point. Point number 37, I'm a center of his universe, and I am. Point number 38, he's really good in business. We're working on that. He's got nice friends and the friends likes me. Everybody loves us. We have few close friends, and we can count on these friends. So I've noticed that since I am with my husband, a lot of the fake relationships that I had in my life, they went away, and I'm more than happy to confirm that at the moment I don't really have any people that I would call my best friends, and I'm not ashamed of this. I believe it's better to be alone and find the truth within you, and then find the people who will experience that with you. And you don't have to be so afraid that you don't have any close friends. You don't have to be ashamed that you don't have 7,000 friends on Facebook, because at the end of the day it's all about the union, it's all about relationships. And then when you're ready, the good friends will arrive. You don't have to look for them. You don't have to take all this drama, all this negativity that I had to take all these years. There's so many things that I need to be doing every single day. And right now, like, I'm doing these videos. Obviously we're gonna have to cook, we're gonna have to clean, we need to look at for the garden. I have my family, I have my cat, I have my small businesses that I'm doing on the side. So everything takes time. I also would like to read a book and watch a good movie, and I also need time for myself, you know, just me and doing my makeup, doing my pedicure, my manicure. Things takes time, and if you have friends who are always on the phone moaning about how bad their life is and how they're jealous about you, and I don't need that. Honestly, I don't need that. So when I said to you, when it comes to your love list, it doesn't have to be 100%, okay? As you see, when we're going through the list, there are a few things that didn't happen straight away, but we are working on it. There were some things that were not negotiable, like point number 25, when I said he's faithful husband. Well, if he wouldn't be faithful, we wouldn't be together. Simple. He provides everything for me. He pays for rent, all the bills, food, my nails, hair, and my car. Done, tick. He does the shopping. Many times I'm gonna be the one who's gonna go and do shopping. Sometimes we go together. I love that moment. And sometimes he can do the shopping, so that doesn't really matter. I feel at ease next to him, and I have to say, from the beginning, I really felt at ease when he was next to me. It was never stressful. It was never I never felt like I have to see him. I always wanted to see him. I always felt like I'm at home. He always wants to protect me. Big one. And he really does, always. He acts quick. He has the time. He has the same timeline as me. He treats me like a queen. He makes me feel safe and secure. And he's doing this by doing everything else in the meantime. So when I said that he's trustworthy, when I said that he's kind, when I said that he opens up, all these things gonna create this safe environment for me, and it's gonna create my home, the place when I feel like it belongs to me, it belongs to us. And even if we don't have something right now, I know we can build, and we can have it. You know, we can have it within the next few months, few years, who knows? But we have each other. He builds a beautiful house for me. This is our big dreams, that we're gonna build our house from the scratch, and I know one day it's gonna happen. I feel I can't be myself next to him. I'm feminine, beautiful, and sexy woman. And again, he makes me feel safe. So some points, as you see, they are like pretty much the same as the other points. I could make that list much shorter, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to stop myself. I literally just put everything that I had on my mind. I wrote it all. I called this Annabella's love list, and I printed out. I've printed out. I read it every single day. After I woke up, I had a bit of meditation, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes. Otherwise, I would fall asleep and I wouldn't go to work. So I would wake up, I would read all of this, I would pray, I would trust that the universe will give me exactly what I needed. And if it's not happening, then I knew that there is something beautiful waiting for me around the corner, and there is nothing that could stop me. I also said to myself that I will never settle for less. Anything less than that wasn't good enough for me. Some people say time is ticking. I understand from biology point of view that we have to be a bit quicker than sometimes, like what we are now. So if I would be already 35, I understand it would be a bit more stressful situation. But because I was already 27, 26, 27, I had a bit of time to consider what I wanted and work on myself. Okay, guys, so I hope that's helpful.
Miał być pół godziny, zrobiłem Ci 40 minut.
Tak.
Czy mogę już, czy jeszcze nie?
To jeszcze 5 minut? 5 minutek. What I will say to anybody right now, just have some fun and have some fun along the way. When you see other people, just see what you like and see what you don't like, and that's how you compare. And have faith, because there is something beautiful waiting around the corner, and you can definitely have that as well. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put that love list underneath my video so you can download it, and maybe you can copy some of the points if you feel like they're important, or maybe you can create your own. I mean, I would love to see, I would love to see the comments and see what you guys finding important and how you imagine your love to be. What I also want to announce, I think I'm going to create an online course about dating, relationship, and also later on how to have a beautiful marriage. If that's something that you would like to have, then I'm more than happy to do so. Please stay safe, please stay loving, beautiful people, and I see you in the next one. Bye.